So I don't know why exactly you're in this course, but it's likely that you've had uncomfortable family exchanges like the one in our opening activity. And I know that it can be hard to even consider these kinds of exchanges as conversations, and for good reason. They're usually combative, frustrating, and fruitless. But what is conversation exactly? Is it any time two people talk to each other? Is it the brief exchange I had with that woman on the street? Maybe it's the silent glare that that man gave me on the train? Or is it the Cold War that I'm in with my neighbor about whose job it is to clean our shared staircase? Is it the roast battle I got into on Twitter after someone said something negative about my favorite pop star? Maybe it's only a real conversation if we cry at the end and it's underscored by meaningful music. Trying to tackle this question often feels like taking a tumble down a rabbit hole of semantics, definitions, and refractions of our own personal history. So instead, let's start by figuring out what conversation is not. And I can tell you that conversation is not debate, and it's not interrogation. Don't worry, we're going to go one by one. Debate is a points-based back and forth of arguments and rebuttals. This practice is super entertaining, don't get me wrong, and it is thrilling to see smart people get into a talking point battle, but it's not really a great way to connect with someone and truly get to know them. Plus, I don't think debate actually works. I know, I'm sorry, but it's for three main reasons. One, debate is gamified conversation, meaning that it renders dialogue as a sort of game that can be won or lost. And while it may be satisfying to declare a winner after each social interaction, most issues cannot be won or lost, but simply understood. The practice of debate doesn't really make space for that. Now, two, the second reason I don't think debate works is the debate works when there is a shared pool of facts that people can argue over. In our post-fact world that is rife with misinformation and disinformation, debate becomes difficult. You can have a debate about whether it's pouring or just drizzling, but if the person you're debating denies that it's raining at all, then there's just no debate to be had. And we are living at a time when misinformation and disinformation are so rampant that debate becomes difficult when so many different and unproven theories are floating around as fact. Now, the third reason that I don't think debate works is that too often we put sensitive topics like identity up for debate, and those issues are so delicate, so complicated, and so often misunderstood that they deserve a form of communication that will allow for exploration and not a verbal sport that can only determine who is the better orator. Plus, what does winning a debate actually do, right? Does it change hearts and minds? Does it sway people towards righteousness and justice? I, for one, will tell you that I have never left a debate with a truly different way of thinking. I have never watched a presidential debate and decided who to vote for based on who had the best talking points. I think we watch these spectacles to root for our side, to get mad at the other side, and then go home thinking what we already thought. The challenge, though, is that debate is our default. Now, I'll tell you that a lot of people mistake my work for debate. Well-meaning people will often praise me for hosting a debate show, which is funny because from the beginning I have always made it clear that conversations with people who hate me is anything but. So this frustrated me at first, and then I began to realize that there was something to be learned here. Debate is actually the only word we know for conversation across difference, dialogue across the divide, and how telling is that? That we think the only way to speak with someone we disagree with is through battle. The only way to have a difficult conversation is by having two opposing teams square off against each other firing talking points. Fortunately, there is an antidote to the combative style of communication that debate prioritizes, a surefire way to veer our social interactions away from the debate territory, and that is by engaging in the simple act of asking questions and leading with curiosity. Debate doesn't allow us to see each other fully. It's a series of tightly worded monologues launched from podiums. Questions, however, allow us to unlock each other's doors and explore all that we are curious to know. And yet, neither curiosity nor asking questions are inherently virtuous. When curiosity is not plumbed gently and when we ask questions with an agenda, we can quickly slip into interrogation. Now, interrogation is a one-way investigation. A ceaseless drilling where one person badgers another over and over and over again, treating them more like a puzzle to crack than a fellow human being. This is not conversation. It's curiosity with a dagger. Like debate, I don't think interrogation works as a means to get to know someone. For one thing, it's unidirectional, meaning it's not a two-way exchange of ideas and thoughts, questions and answers, but a one-way attack. Two, it's aggressive. It is only a way to extract facts from someone, and a questionable method at that. The person being interrogated is then left with no choice other than to be on the defensive, rendering connection almost impossible. It dehumanizes all involved. So if conversation is not debate, and it's not interrogation, what is it? The closest approximation I can offer is to think of conversation as a dance. In a dance, we are equal to our partner. Sure, one may lead and the other may follow, but dance requires an incredibly close listening to our partner and adjusting our bodies to their movements, their flow, their rhythm. A dance won't work without active participation from both parties. It is neither an attack, nor a game, nor a punishment. When done well, it's just a joy. But I've spent this whole time speaking in metaphors, and while that may help us perceive the abstract, conversation is not an abstract concept. Okay? It's a real thing that we can do right now, and the best way to learn how to have conversation is not to talk about them, but just to have them. And with that, let's get to the next activity.